Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for attending Seawall today. In the seminar room today we have Lopata, who is a business networking strategist. Andy has been labelled Mr. Network by The Sun. Andy was once called Europe's leading business network strategist by the Financial Times. He's also the co-author of 2 books on networking. Andy is featured in the columns in the USA magazine, The National Networker, and is regularly quoted in the national press. Today Andy is going to talk about the benefits of networking, offers for small business, and how to make the most out of events like today. So may I hand you to Andy.
Thank you very much. Good morning everybody. When you speak at an event like this, and you speak in the plenary hall, which I'm doing tomorrow, one of the first things they ask you is what music you want to walk onto. And you think, well, what's the right track for me? And, I put aside all the ones that I like, coming onto my favourite song, Comfortably Numb, who might not be the right message to send to the audience. I started thinking about, well, what am I talking about? And it's referrals tomorrow, and so I thought, okay, it's about getting what you want. And the only song that sprang to my mind was, you can't always get what you want. That didn't seem right either. But what about networking? Well, I've used talk in the past, for all you 80s buffs there. All you ever do is talk. And I thought, well, as listening is a key skill in networking, that's probably not sending the right message either. And so I settled in the end for an old 70s rock track, Let's Work Together by Canned Heat. But I was thrown off a little bit last night by Jeff Ram. Jeff is a fellow speaker, he's speaking in an hour's time. And Jeff said, what about Connected by the Stereo MCs? He said, wouldn't that be perfect for networking? And I thought, you know what, Jeff, you're right. I've missed a trick here. Connected by the Stereo MCs. It says everything about networking. And then I thought about it more last night, and I thought, no, it's not actually right. And it, again, sends the wrong message. Because I think that what's happened over recent years, networking has become much more in vogue. Networking has become much more popular, and more people are going out and networking. In the recent economic climate, that's happened even more, and I've seen a huge rise in the amount of networking that people are doing. And what's happening is people are going out and just trying to connect. So what you see is people go to networking events, they'll come to an event like this and judge their success on how many business cards they've collected. I read a blog yesterday from one of my colleagues on the National Networker in the States, where she talked about someone she met at a networking event who sat down in exhaustion next to her halfway through the event. And she said, I'm shattered. She said, and I've only met 6 people so far. I've got to get 10 cards before I leave here. And I posted that up and I said, what's the point of just trying to get 10 cards? Which was the point of the blog. You see, when I started networking, that's what I tried to do. I'd measure my success on how many cards I could collect. And I just didn't get what networking was. You see people who network online. How many of you are on LinkedIn? You just stick your hands up. Most of you, pretty much all of you, are on LinkedIn. How many of you are on Twitter or Facebook? Again, not as many, but again, most of you, the vast majority. And what do people do? They try and connect and connect and connect. And you see people say, I've got so many followers on Twitter. All these tweets about, get more followers here. How many friends have you got on Facebook? You have people who are LinkedIn open networkers, or Lions for short. And Lions will connect to tens of thousands of people, as many connections as they can get, because their approach is, the more connected I am, the more I can achieve. My approach is slightly different. My strapline is connecting is not enough. And I really struggle with this whole approach to networking as being how many business cards you can collect, how many people you can talk to, how many connections you can make online. It's a totally different approach. I gave a talk at an event last summer, and just before I went up to the platform to start, someone stopped me, and they said, Andy, they got their Beckbury out, and they said, I've got 2,000 names and numbers in there. Isn't that great networking? And I said, you know what? I said, if you phoned each of those 2,000 people, and they greeted you by your first name, they knew who you were, and they were willing to help you, and in fact, when you don't phone, they're thinking about you and they're looking for opportunities for you, you have got a fantastic network. I said, otherwise, it's certainly lighter than the yellow pages, isn't it? So what I want to talk about today is not how you can get as many connections as possible. What I want to talk about today is that word there, networking. I've already mentioned it several times. And what networking really is. And what I want to look at are the three main reasons why businesses need to network. Why it's so vital, so important, particularly in the modern economy. How many of you are new startups or recently started a business? So just under half of you. How many of you run a small business, a micro business, up to 5 people? Again, the majority of you. Networking is your way to compete with the big boys. Your network is the way that you don't just survive in a very, very tough economic climate, but you thrive. But the first thing you need to do is understand exactly what networking is, and then understand what it can do for you. So maybe I can share my definition of networking with you. Think about your computer, and think about what your computer could do when you took it out of its box. It had certain software uploaded to it, you could input some more information and it could process that data and it could give you a result. But then you increase the potential that computer could offer your business by maybe connecting it to something. So say, for example, in the olden days we would have said an external hard drive. You still have external hard drives now. Or to a printer, so you could get a hard copy of what you've input into that computer. As your business grows, and those of you who have gone from absolute start-up stage to maybe having an office with 5 or 6 of you, you'll have started to connect your computers together, so that if someone types in something in their computer on one side of the office, you can access it on yours. And then we got to the stage where I've never actually been to the International Centre in Telford before, and to my knowledge my computer hasn't either. But it could tell me exactly how to get here, exactly where to come. And that's simply because it's accessed information on other computers all over the world. Now what terms do we use in technology for when we connect computers together? Networking. And it's the same thing with people. It's exactly the same thing with people. What networking does is it's bringing you together, it's collaboration to enhance your potential beyond that which you could achieve on your own. I have some things that I am really, really good at. But equally, I have stuff that I am lousy at. You all have strengths, you all have weaknesses. You all have expertise that I lack. And maybe I have some expertise that you lack. You've got skills that I don't have. I might have skills that you don't have. You've got connections that I might need. I've got connections that could help you. If we pull those resources and work together, I'm going to improve my business and you're going to improve yours. That's what networking is. And I really want to shift that mindset to this idea that networking is about selling, or networking is about just connecting as many people together as possible, and start to think about what the end result is. Now, to give you a little bit more of my background, I used to run a national business network. When I left there about 3.5 years ago, we had 125 groups around the UK. And I saw so many people come through that network and walk away with no value whatsoever. For one simple reason: they didn't know what success looked like. They would go along to a networking event because someone said to them, come to this networking event. They would join a networking group because someone took them along to an event and they liked the buzz. And they saw things happen and they thought, I should get a part of that. But what they didn't do was work out what part of it they wanted, what success would look like for them. So they would come along and just attend the meetings, no planning, no preparation, not getting their message right, not getting their message across, so that they could say to the other people in their group, that's where I need to enhance my potential, that's where I need support. And they'd walk away and say, what a waste of time. And as someone who's running the network, that is incredibly frustrating. And I think it's very important, if you've given up 1 day or 2 days to be at this event, that you know what success will look like. When you go back to your office or you go back to your partner and they say, was it worth it? You're able to actually say, well, yes, because. And that comes, for most people, almost by osmosis. Because just by being around people and talking, you'll pick up a couple of connections and you'll pick up a bit of information. By going to all of the talks, you'll pick up something that you